Hey everybody. Everybody hear me all right? How are we doing this evening? Alright, let's see if I can finish Keylith up, make her look a little bit better. I'm not super happy with the mantle, so I might change that up a little bit. And I'm thinking that the cloth around her skirt might change color as well. Obviously I gotta do her boots too. The staff I feel is looking really good, just as is. I gotta do the gem in there and drop Keylith on the ground. But so long as everybody can hear me, I will get started. So let's get to work. I went out and I got myself some Aethermatic blue contrast, and I want to use that on the inside of her cloak. This is what I was talking about last week. So I'm going to grab this guy, this base coat brush, shake this up real well because it'll be the first time opening it. Hopefully everything is properly focused. Camera, camera, camera. How has everyone's week been going so far? Hopefully pretty well. That'll be cool. Okay, base coat brush. Get a bit, drop a bit. Cat fuzz off my thumb, please. Alright. Contrast stuff, quick shade, blam. Just drop it in. Work it into the grooves if you have to, but don't be shy with it, because it's got to properly soak into the edges. Get all the little bits. I was talking to a local hobby shop owner. I mentioned that I'm doing commission painting now. And he was like, oh, that's cool. I know one other person around the area that's doing it. He was telling me about that guy's sort of outlook on painting, and he's like, yeah, he doesn't believe in dry brushing or ink washes or whatever. He says, and get this, he says it's cheating. I was like, yeah, you know what? That's exactly how I instruct people to use it. It is cheating, and it's fantastic. Can't knock it. I mean, it does awesome stuff, and it saves you a ton of time because it's a proper technique. It's not like you're, actually cheating. You're using a brush. You're applying pigments. That's the way that goes. Like, whatever. Pick this up just a little bit. I don't want it to be quite that deep, so we're going to pick this up just a little bit. Dry the brush off just a tiny bit. Just use the bristles. Soak up a little teeny bit of that ink. That's better. That'll do. Apparently I got a little bit back here, so I'm going to clean off the brush completely and then go like this. Keep the brush a little bit wet and just dab it out of the corners. Cool. That looks good. Okay. So I was thinking for that cloth, I should probably, the cloth and the mantle I might change up and have it actually be stark brown, because it's going to go, the base isn't necessarily going to be, no, the base is still going to be brown, but I'm going to do some mixing in there so I can have that sort of balance it out. I'm going to close this up real gentle like, because that worked well. Put the quick shade back over here. I've now got a arrangement of quick shades back there. Got myself some primary color base coats, which I'm pretty happy about. Bone color, and that'll serve for any white, and then obviously yellow, blue, and red. And it works out rather well. I tried some of this a little earlier today, the contrast yellow. It looks pretty cool on this shield, so I'm digging that. And the blue looks like it's going to be pretty good too. So, not going to complain. Not gonna complain. She's got a lot of contrast washes on her. She's got the white contrast and the blue contrast, and I think that'll be cool. So, what I had said before was I was going to move along and do some browns, because I'd like the browns to break up the whites. How's my palette looking? I put a fresh piece in there, so it is completely untouched. You see how it's a little bit wrinkly? It's because it's wet. Yeah, the shield does look cool. I like it. I did it in yellow because he didn't have yellow on him, and you told me that it was like one that he picked up, and then Delirious told me that it was a magic shield, and I was like, well, damn it, I painted it one way. It's now a Warhammer 40k tournament. Cut me some slack. So I think I am going to do some of this brown, Beastie Brown, up on that mantelpiece, and I'm going to make sure I get her belt as well. And I'm trying to decide if I should do the cloth in it, but I think I want the cloth to be, what'll break that up well. I think if it's brown on the shoulders and then the brown belt, I think the cloth itself, maybe the belt should be black, and then the we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, it's true. Not all shields are ostentatious. All right, a little tiny bit of the brown. One dab. One little dab. I'm not doing a lot. You can hardly see it there. I'm gonna grab my my Vallejo 3, number 3. Gonna pick up a little tiny bit. Make sure it's nice and wet. Draw it out a little and roll the brush. Not sure if you guys can see the brush roll technique. Whoa, watch out. Don't get any of that other stuff. I'm going to go back up here. I feel like this is going to stand out better, and it will allow her hair to be that grayish titanium, not titanium, that gray blonde color, almost blue, without really drawing away from the rest of the figure. So my wife sent me this picture. She's like, guess who this is? And she sent me this like photo, the scan of a photo or a gif of a photo or whatnot. And I'm like, I don't know. It's black and white. It looks a little scratched, so it's probably actual like physical photo just taken as a scan. And I was like, and they've got looks kind of older. He's got like a pompadour haircut going on. I was like, I don't know. Tell me it's Bernie Sanders, because that'd be pretty funny. And she was like, nope, try again. And I was like, you need to give me more hints, because I don't know from somebody getting pictures taken of them in like the 30s or the 40s or whenever. And I mean, I can hardly mark people down in the 70s at this point. She's like, it's Bob Ross. And I was like, no kidding. He looks like he's a slick looking dude in this picture. He's got his hair all kind of coiffed up. It's not, he's probably, late teens, early 20s, and he's just like all done up and slick. I was like, wow, impressive. Before the signature fro. Nice thing this year is Bob Ross's birthday falls on a Thursday. So I gotta do myself a Bob Ross stream. Oh, thanks, Al. I figure it differentiates him a little bit. I don't know if Rolf's base is too close to Euronymous' base. I don't remember. I think I did Euronymous' base with a red border as well. Or are you just talking about the Critical Role minis? Because that is also true. I started painting rims of bases a while ago, just as a final piece. I feel like it makes it look good. But apparently they also did it. Apparently. Sometimes you can see it in the Critical Role stream because they did it there as well. I feel like makes it look cool. All right, belt. All right. Belt. What am I gonna do? Okay, I can touch the back of the cloak because it doesn't have this stuff on it. I think I am gonna do... Yeah, we're gonna do this because it'll break up the mini a little bit. I'm gonna make this brown as well. I'm gonna be careful not to touch the wet blue in the back. Just want to bring it around nice and gentle. Nice and gentle. Make sure this is an actual line. My eyes just wigged out on me. You guys see it all right? Looks like it's doing okay. It's not reflecting too much. I'm thinking about remodeling my my basement, and by remodeling I mean adjusting and making a paint workshop, potentially with some hangout space in it, but mostly have the basement set up as a paint workshop. So I can get my paints up along the wall and the miniature queue up along the wall as well and off of the shelf behind me. Because that way I can put things in order received and get things with a hard deadline that I've already been paid for up in the right spot. Way I can kind of arrange my projects in the order that they need to get done in. Thanks, Neff. Thanks for checking. I think last time I may have had my overhead light off, and I think the camera, when it was trying to focus and getting the reflected light off of the white and the light colors from the miniature, probably was starting to wash it out because it didn't have other ambient light. So it had like a dark room with a bright spotlight on something. So whenever it came into focus really well, it just kind of completely went bonkers. I had a fun D&D game. Two of them. I got to play on Friday and on Saturday. So that was cool. Friday's game. I was in it with a couple folks in chat. We were having some fun playing Dungeons and Dragons Left 4 Dead, basically. Had to keep a whole bunch of crazy frost zombies out of a inn or tavern and then try and get out with the owner and their kids and the patrons and stuff. So that was out. And then I got to play on Saturday night, which was also cool. Belt. I think I'm going to do the belt as a brown as well, but I'm going to shade it, and as far as the clothing is concerned, I'm going to highlight it and bring it up so that we'll have a couple of different shades of brown. Yeah, Saturday night game was fun. Then again, Warlock has a knack for doing some crazy shit and somehow making it level appropriate and seem plausible. Oh, I got the tiny elephant running around upstairs. She should be in bed. I don't know what she's doing. Can you guys hear? Stomp, 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 stomp. Oh, nice. That's awesome, Noah. Will it be their first time? You imply that it is going to be their first time. Three players all first. Cool. 3 players including you, or 3 PCs and a DM? I think that'll break it up a little bit better. Nice. What's your plan? Do they have characters, or are you guys making characters that day? Oh, I gotta get her boots too. Boot, 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 boot. God, her legs are so scrawny. Like these minis get super, super thin in places. It kind of wigs me out occasionally because I go to paint something and it moves. Because plastic is so fragile. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. 100%. I agree 100%. Come with the who, figure out the mechanics afterwards. If you can. I had so many options for the game I'm playing every other Saturday night that I was like, what is the rest of the party gonna do? I'll make something that either fills a need, or if we're suitably taken care of, I'll make something fun and weird. they were pretty suitably taken care of, so I made something kind of fun and weird. Yep, I agree. That'll work. It's a great start. It's a great start. I very much approve of giving them options for social stuff and combat stuff sort of separately. It absolutely is. Getting to the table with a who in your mind before you even open a rule book means you've at least got the role in role playing somewhat started. It's a good way to start. I don't think. I was checking to see if Sif was hanging out with us, but she is not. I expect your homebrew world to have a fantastically developed economy. Just because. Paint under my fingernails. Alright, lady. What did we do? I need some bleached bone. So I'm going to try and use some of this bone white, just like I did with the staff, because I want to get her antlers with it, and do the same thing I did over there. Again, I don't need a lot. I get a little tiny dab. Take my little tiny brush. Okay. Contrast paint's coming along. The shader, I mean. Alright. A little bit. Right there. So, your headdress goes like this. It's got some leaves and stuff on it, but I don't know if I'm gonna stick with that being leaves or if I'm gonna stick with it being like twisted woody stuff. Can I fix your face? La la la. I gotta be careful because I don't want to put my hand up against blue on the other side. Coming in here, I'm going to be careful because I did find her ear. There we go. It doesn't have to be booming. I expected it to be developed. And I expect it to be consistent. Okay. Just going to break it up a little bit, which should look pretty good. So I'm going to take some of this bone and I'm going to put it into this brown, or the other way around. Take some of the brown and mix it in with the bone, because I would like a highlight color for her dark leather stuff, and I think that this is going to be a good highlight color for it. Okay, so the first thing I'm actually going to do is come over here to this sash bit that is coming off. And we're going to let this kind of dance across the top. We'll get the grooves later. So just bring it on in here. And in this case, you don't have to worry if you miss a spot, because that is just a natural texture that we can work with. There we go. Bring that up just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to do it on these belt pouches as well. I believe this almost looks like a journal pouch or something, because I feel like there's pages in here. Pick it back up from in between the two. Okay, now this is going to be a little trickier because there are actually some grooves here. And what I'm trying to do is just accentuate the edges and not leave a big smear. There we go. Let me get the top of this belt pouch. Okay, and then I'm going to grab more of the highlight brown in between, and I'm going to get the top of her very, very smooth, no detail boot going on here. And I want to kind of go up the cap, but let it get pointed as it goes up. We're going to grab most of the top of the shoe. Just a little bit. Okay, finish this up. Try and figure where the shadow might be. Make sure that we don't get on top of it. Get a little bit more, get the other boot. This toe is sticking out quite a bit, but it's also cut off right here, so I'm just going to move it up and stop. I'm going to get the side of the boot a little bit on the lower portion. Try and blend in the mold line here. Okay. Now let's get this other side. Right here. just down the front edge, down towards the bottom. We're going to leave the shadow underneath the belt pouch. And leave it kind of poking through here. Don't touch the blue in the back because you don't want that to get mixed in. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is going to keep some more of that mixed together. Just a little bit more. There we go. And I'm going to go across the fur mantelpiece. Get most of it because there's a lot of contours on this. So I just want to leave the little bits underneath. What we're going to do is we're going to put a wash over it. Hopefully it'll help me differentiate a lot of these bumps. I'm sort of using the side of the brush in these better defined areas to pick up the ridges. And then this part back here is kind of just lump. There's a couple of little hole and stuff in it. So I'm going to hit the upraised parts mostly. I'm going to start leaving bits underneath so that it provides more of a shadow. So I'm only going to go about halfway down across the back with this highlight color. Is it? Better? There we go. Okay, under here. There. Okay, I'm going to want to stage that up a little bit more. So we're going to go up a little higher in here as well. Okay. So instead of that, I'm going to go to the bone, and I'm just going to bring the bone towards the edge and get a very little bit lighter color. Again, we're going to get the end of the bristles nice and wet, roll it over, and then do a little bit of spot highlighting kind of up top. And that's going to be a pretty good highlight color for a lot of our light tans. So we're just going to work with that. And we're going to let it play on the back side here. Just a little bit. Trying to poke at some of the upraised sections with the tip of the brush and let some of the paint come off. Like that. So then I'm going to go back to this part, and since I like that highlight so much, I'm just going to touch the corner. And then maybe do a little bit of a drag right at the corner of each of these folds. And then we hit the top of the belt pouches. And I'm going to hit the top of this fabric piece right here. Mostly just these upraised corners up high. Keep the side of the brush a bit so I can come down here and just go over some of these. There we go. That's looking a little better. All right. I'm going to grab some of the strong tone. I think that's what I used last time on the staff. I'm going to use a little teeny bit of it along the horns. I mean the antlers. So let's just drop out a tiny bit. I usually use a bigger brush, but because what I'm doing is I'm essentially using the ink to get into the cracks around the horns and then kind of spot shading. What I'm going to use is I'm still going to use my detail brush. Just going to get a bit in here. I'm going to go back up to these horns, antlers, things, and we're going to go like this. And it's going to pick up a lot of those little details in there. A little tiny bit more. Focus on the ridges. Get the color in there. Make sure it gets shaded a bit. Come around the back side, get a tiny little bit more. There we go. And now that can match her staff. I'm going to do a little bit more right up under here. That's okay. Okay. I think the blue looks good. I like that shader. I think our cloak in the back looks good. Now the hair looks like it stands out more. It ended up looking like my my little picture right under my face. Oh, you know what? She's got a tiny little black belt in there. So I'm going to put in a teeny weeny dab of black. Whoa! That was a bit excessive. That's all I need right there. Must have been a bubble. I don't know why I decided not to keep it in the tray. I just was avoiding getting a huge splotch in that tray. Tiny little bit of black. I'm going to roll that brush over again, make sure it's very pointy. And then I'm going to get in here, because she's got a tiny little, like, black belt. She's got a double stage belt here. There's, like, this teeny little sucker in between everything else. And it's got like another thicker one behind it, as if it's top of this sash. So we'll do that. I can kind of see it along the top of this belt pouch, so let me just make a tiny little move here. Taking out this detail. There. Guess what? Put my hands in it. Of course. I'll fold this one up because it's super messy. And now I've got black paint under my fingernail. Oh well. Rinse that out. Wash off the brush. Okay. Oh, it's looking pretty good. Just looking pretty good. I feel like she's got a little something going down the front of her bodice, and I'm going to make that a very, very faint silver. So I'm going to snag, just going to grab this silver. Bip. I only did a small dot of it. Why is Dell Support Assist coming up in the middle of my stream? Go away. I don't want to play with you. I'm busy. Alright, a little teeny bit of this nice bright silver here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see these right here, these little vertical lines. I'm just gonna hit them with a silver just to separate them a little bit. It's gonna be hard to notice unless the light hits them properly, and then they'll just be this nice little metallic glint. She's got some buttons over here. Not really see any on the other side. Let's just kind of show up a little bit. It's not going to be crazy. Okay, that's cool. Let's get to that gem. I think the gem's going to be fun. I'm going to toss this paper towel and I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, now I'm back. Gem. Oh, what color should we make it? Delirium, you in the chat? What color do you want the gem at the top of her staff? Got any thoughts? Neffy, is Delirium in chat? He doesn't know. All right. Amethyst it is. That's where I'm going. I'm going with purple. I'm going with an amethyst purple. So I'm just going to do this base color. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll show that bottle in just a second. It is dark blue according to the Vallejo paints. Okay, that's the way it's going to start. I also think she has a gem, like a little brooch. And if she doesn't, I'm going to make one anyway, right in the middle, to clasp her cloak with. And you know what? I'm going to make one right at the front of her forehead, because I feel like there's a spot right here that's got an oval on it, and it needs to also be a gem. There we go. Okay, next up. Snag this color, text lichen. I need a teeny dot, bip. So all I want. I'm gonna get a little teeny weeny bit. That's too thick. Let's bring that back a little to a point. To a nice fine point. First we're going to get these two little teeny spots. And then, if this is dry, I'm going to play around with it a little bit. Okay. Yeah, that's about right. And it comes up to that happy pink that I like. This one, except I think I might dab and mix it in. I feel like that's super thin, so let's give it a little bit of a poke. That way we can get some more color. I'll mix these two together. I am looking for that color right there. Yeah, that's good. We draw it out a bit. Okay, quick little touch right here. You can hardly see that one, that's awesome. And then a quick little touch right here. A little bit more. And then I'm going to play with it and let it get a little streaky up this way. Playing around, let the bristles just kind of touch where they want to go. I don't necessarily need it to be a perfect coating because that would be a little unnatural. Then I'm going to pick up some of the brighter color over here on this side. Because I want to touch this gem a little bit above. Yeah. And then this one is going to also just be on the top. And then I'm going to get a little bit of the paint off because I want it to come on as like almost slashes and not necessarily only going to drag it in one direction because I want to see if I can get streaks in it. Okay. I'm going to do some of this squid pink for extreme highlights, but I think I'm going to mix it in because I like mixing. I'm going to mix it in with that other purple. Putting my hands in it. I got to make sure I'm not putting bits of my fingers in that I'm going to handle the mini with. Okay, let's give a little bit of a mix right here first. All right, these guys down here are probably too small for this. But this might not be. So we're just going to, again, make some streaks in it. So based on the way paint's gone on, the light's probably hitting it from over here. So I'm going to take some white. Just a little teeny bit of it. Make sure the brush is nice and pointed. And I'm just going to go make a little dot. And then down at the bottom, get a little bit of that extra paint off. On the opposite side, so right over here, I'm going to make a little bit of a streak. And then I'm going to snag that. Hey, you stay open. I feel like that's going to look real nice. Yeah. And as soon as that's dry, I will hit it with the gloss varnish. Well, when it's set with everything else. I need a tiny little bit of silver right here from before because I need to do her belt buckle. So she's got a belt buckle in here. Hey, smooth out. It's better. Belt buckle. And there's a strap on, there's a clasp on that bag. And a little clasp on that one. We're going to put some silver piping over the top of this. And we're going to give her, she's got some silver bracelets. Hey Noah, you had some insight on audio in some of my early streams. If I was trying to find a good virtual mixer so that I could play some music on stream, but not necessarily record it to the main audio track for VODs I post on YouTube, do you have any insights on that? All right. All right, now that amethyst needs to be shiny. Where's my gloss? Good old-fashioned acrylic gloss varnish. I can use this brush for the gloss varnish because I'm not looking for detail, I'm looking for coverage. I want this to be a nice shiny orb. I think she's looking pretty good. Oh, whacked the camera. I punched it that time. It's alright. It's fine. Mostly because I'm not sure if it's going to work or not. I'm using my detail brush and went back to the gloss varnish for the gem in her headdress. This one's too small. I'm probably going to hit. We'll see. I got some gloss varnish on it. It's probably not going to show up very often, but people may occasionally notice that there's a purple gem at the very clasp of her cloak. They will see the purple gem on her headdress, which I like. The one in the staff is pretty shiny. That'll do. Okay. I think we're in pretty good shape. We're going to move on and take care of her base, I think. I think I might actually skip doing the wash on the tabard. I think it looks fine as is. So let's get to it. Working on the base. All right. Same as before. Grabbing some of that PVA glue. Maybe. If I can get it out of the bottle. I was using it earlier today, so it's a little bit stuffed up. Working on Al's mini. Rolf. Right here. I like the way his backpack came out. I think his backpack looks real good. I should probably put metal clasps on all those suckers, shouldn't I? But he's not T-posed, but he's like, yo, bring it. I'm a fighter. I fight. Come on. Get out. Ew. Stopped up old glue. Get out. Get out. Not sure how that's gonna go. It's pretty gross. Let's see. Oh, okay. I don't need a whole hell of a lot. It's a small base. This glue is old. This glue is very old. performance anxiety. Let's get over there. Ooh. Hold on. We learned this before. See how the glue just like beat it up? I need to put a base coat down. Gonna use some of the older stuff. I don't need to use the new stuff. This will do just fine. Just gonna spread it out. Nice and thin because it just needed to dry somewhat quickly. I actually don't even care if there are brush strokes in it, obviously, because it's going underneath basing material. Ooh, how do I get under your cape? Let's actually go all the way around the base with it too. It'll thin things out a little bit. Help it so that it dries quickly. Real quick. Spread it out a bit. There we go. There we go. Tuck it in by your boot over here. Well, let that dry for just a second. Okay. Now I can get back around to the glue, I think. As soon as this dries, it's still a little bit wet. But I feel like she's done pretty well. So that's looking pretty good. Pretty good for a fairly quick job. Like the amethyst, I think it looks good. Okay, let's get back to it. Blah, 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 blah. Trying to be careful around her toes and her boot and stuff. Now, if you remember, I was going to play around with the base a little bit. I wanted to be based on the same material as, or at least on the same decoration as the rest of the CR1 campaign minis. So I'm not going to change up the flocking. However, I am going to take some white paint. And I'm going to kind of put some streaks like windblown snow on the base in the direction she's gesturing. Let's see if that does it. I got some exciting news that's coming along the lines. My wife and I have been working on the website, and so far it looks pretty cool. It's not super complex, but I feel like it will do the job. So that should be up soonish. Well, Tessa's done a lot of good work on it. She was excited about it. We've got a nice little scroll down and made sure it works on multiple browsers and on mobile devices and stuff like that. So we're not just going to toss it up there and have it be all glitchy and stupid. Because I was in website Q&A for a while, and she did web design professionally for a bit. So we're trying to see if it goes up and it doesn't crash and doesn't do dumb things. So it's going to be simple to start. And then we're going to take a peek at adding some other features to it. All right. Do I still have some of that white? Because I want to touch up the corner of the cloak. Did you win, Delirium? Tell me you won. Somebody on the enemy team bail? That sucks. I know I hate it when it happens from my end of the spectrum where I'm the one who's got the lever, so it's never cool. Trying to neaten up the white a little bit. Well, Vi is fun. I enjoy Vi. I played with a super apologetic but very, very, very nice Leona today. She'd like jump into stuff and initiate, and then we'd kill a couple folks and she'd die and she's like, ah, darn it. It's like, what? You got us like 3 kills. Stop apologizing. There we go. That's a little bit better. gonna wait for that glue to dry on her base. If there's a better way. Probably not. I might be able to zoom that camera in a little bit. I wonder. Where is it? Palette shot. Properties. Can you zoom in? I guess not. It's all right. All right, how are we doing down there? We dry? Dry-ish. She's got a big old rock next to her toe. I wonder if I can get that out of there. It'll be a good test of whether or not this is dry. Okay. That's fine. It took a little bit of effort to pull off, so we're going to call it dry enough. Snag some of the charred brown. I'm going to put a bit of it over here, and I'm going to be moderately generous because I'm going to need a little. I'm going to water it down a bit so that it gets onto into the cracks and such. I don't mind if this is a point or not because it is just going over here. Now because she's got this crazy cape thing going on, I am going to not play around too far underneath. I'm going to grab one of my smaller brushes and try and finish up underneath the cloak. That's going to be annoying. It's the biggest problem I have with minis that come assembled. Like, you don't really have the option to take them off their base, because it becomes very difficult to get under certain parts of them sometimes. I'm used to, I started painting Games Workshop minis. So razz on them as much as you want for their business practices. They did emphasize that part of the hobby was assembly. So you were in there working on the figures, which meant that you could actually stop assembling when you wanted to get some pieces done, painting, and keep pieces off and not have to worry about damaging the figure because they came in bits. So get off of her foot. Got a couple of loose pieces down here, unfortunately, but we'll work around it. So next week, Thursday is Percy. And that should be fun. What are we gonna do with Percy? I believe I was talking about doing him like a highwayman and making him weathered and dirty, which should look pretty cool because I can get his cloak his coat all dirty and stuff. Come on. Let's get all the way underneath. Okay, we'll work with that. So yeah, weathered highwayman Percival. So like black coat. All like road mud and stuff on the bottom, weathered boots. We're gonna make him dirty. I think we'll make him dirty. Except for maybe his gun. Maybe he keeps that super clean. Maybe he keeps his weapons really clean, but he doesn't necessarily take as much care of his clothing. Because his guns are his livelihood. Alright, that needs to dry a bit. Damn it! Sorry. Found some spots that I missed. So let's get that in there. There. That's better. All right. Give her just a moment for that to dry a bit. Gotta clean off that palette because the palette's getting kind of nasty. Yeah, the amethyst looks good. Oh, you know what? I can do a little bit more. Another gloss coat. Let's get super glossy. I want this to be like glass. Oops. I actually punched the camera that time. Here it comes, ready? Blam. You can actually see it. I've hit the... So instead of just bumping it with the bristles or the handle of the brush tonight, I've actually punched it once and knocked it off to the left and then jammed it again and jerked it around. So instead of like multiple little hits, I'm just beating the heck out of it. Okay. That'll be good. That'll be good. So it's going to be a moment before that base is dry. So I am going to go to this blue. We're going to take this base coat blue. Shake it up real good. And I'm going to do it underneath that. Not underneath. Yeah, underneath. I'm going to put this around the base first, and then I am going to put the lighter blue over it. But I want to do it on blue. This is the base coat formula for the paint. I really like these. These are the old, this is the replacement for the old foundation paint line. The nice thing about it is if the brush is a little bit damp, you don't necessarily need to do too much with it to get it to go on nice and smooth. Whacking the camera. We'll let that dry. So when you're closing your pots, I recommend picking them up and doing it two hands like this. Because if you take it and you do this and you slip and it flies off to the side, it sprays paint everywhere. Gets on your carpet, gets on your clothes. 15-year-old me learned that lesson. Twas messy and left a green spot. I was painting orcs and goblins at the time. Pshoom! And there it went. Full bottle of goblin green. All on my floor. So I did mention the website, and I did mention in passing that I'm doing commission painting. If you want, you can message me directly through Twitch at the moment, and I would be happy to chat about pricing. And what we can do to ship minis over and how long it'll take me to get them back to you. D&D minis I do pretty quick. If I'm just zipping along, if somebody sends me a good idea, it only takes me a couple hours maybe. Hit camera number 3. So Rolf here only took me a couple hours. So I feel like he came out pretty well. He's got his hatchet. He's got his shield. Rolf, the Hero Forge base minis, those are my low-end D&Ds. Those are $75. But I can get them done like that, nice and quick, and turned around. And at the moment, I can do it in about a day after they show up, so long as nothing, interrupts. So figure a couple of days at most. And then I turn it around and send it back out. So depending on where you are, figure in your shipping. But yeah, I get a couple of those done. I've been cranking through these guys, and I'm taking a little bit longer with the Critical Role minis just so I could talk about them. And I usually like to do up a couple and then do all the bases together because I can use all the same materials and stuff like that. But the D&D minis individually are pretty quick. Like Keylith really, it's 4 hours on stream, but realistically I could probably get her done in 2 if I was just cranking through looking to get her done. So $75 is the starter. You get some bigger ones, some more complex ones. I mean, realistically, Grog could have been like an 85 because he's a little bit bigger, but he's also got a lot of cool details on him and such. But yeah, 75 to 85 are your usual D&D minis. If you do something fancy, if it's like a a special character model or something you really want me to put a lot of time into, we can go up to about $100. And then we can get into the bigger minis. I've got a couple that would cost quite a bit. I will at one point on stream finish painting this guy. I got him started. He's not done yet, but he big. He's a big boy. This will eventually be an ancient white dragon. I've also got a green and a red. I plan on doing all of them on stream. So, once I finish with the first Critical Role set, we'll figure out what we want to do for the next cool thing. Big guys like that, the dragons, you want them to be really cool. They're close to 200. They take me a while. I get in and make sure everything is all nice and neat. But it's good stuff, and they come out really, really well. I do 40k figures, I'll do fantasy figures, Warhammer, I'll do Malifaux, I'll do War Machine, I'll do Hordes. I have a Lich Lord Terminus and a Dire Troll special character Rock. So one from War Machine and one from Hordes. I'll be doing them on stream at some point in the future. What else do we got over there? I have a... what was it? I think it was a Gen Con specific Warcaster from when they released the War Machine strategy game. I have the Crixian Warcaster from that one. Buddy of mine picked up Gen Con. That was a while ago. Probably 7 or 8 years ago. So, I don't know if anybody has that one, or if many people have that one. But we've got a good lineup. We've got a good lineup set up. It'll be fun. It will be fun. And there should be a lot to do. A lot for folks to see. I want to do a couple of different scales. Hey. I want to do a couple different sizes of minis because regular D&D figures are cool and they go quick. But you can also do cool other stuff to have fun with. Big ones, small ones. Blood Bowl teams. I'm working on one of those this week. Trying to finishing that up. I noticed I must have bumped a spot with the blue contrast paint, so I wanted to touch it up a little bit. La la la. So I'm just going to put the bone back over that and then dip the dark wash down there once that's dry. But yeah, just reach out. Let me know what's up. Once I get the website going, you can actually contact me directly there. I will have an email address, ramius@chromomancer.com, CHROMANCER. No, Chroma, CHROMAMANCER, like a necromancer but for colors. It's chromomancer.com. And that's where you'll be able to get in touch with me. I'm working out some details like shipping, how much it's generally going to be, if it's better to send a return label with the miniature, just so that you have the postage ahead of time, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be weird. Been rolling around in my head trying to get things ironed out. You still a little damp in there? I might be able to get the highlight color on. We have to do it. Let's do it live, guys. I don't want to roll over into other Critical Role stuff. So we'll pick up this tan color again. Do a little bit of a dry brush. You don't want to do it too dry brush because it's not going to pick up very well. So I'm just going to leave the bristles kind of damp, but not like super, super wet. You'll find that you might lose a couple of the bigger stones if they didn't glue down all the way, but that's all right because they leave a bare spot, and the bare spots are good to target for static grass. You get batches of the static grass in the right spot. Will be okie doke. Okay, get some more along the back. Lighten it up a little bit. And then I'm going to go back and I'm actually going to grab a little bit of the mix, the brown and bone mix, because it's going to be the last highlight stage for the base. Ooh, I had some blue in there. How'd that get in there? Roll this brush around in this middle color. And we're going to just hit some of the edges of the base, I think. I don't want it to be too crazy. I just need to bring some of these little highlights out. Not necessarily all of it, but you know, some of it dries a little bit along the edges or in random spots on the ground. You'll see a lighter colored sand. Kind of randomly hit them. There we go. Tink, tink, tink. Tap it out. Go back for a little bit of the glue because the other glue probably dried up entirely. Don't need a whole lot, gotta be careful. Okay, a little tiny bit. Try and shake it back down into the bottle so I don't have the same problem as last time. Alright, where's my static grass? Here we go. Get the brush wet. Alright, let's find some of those spots along the edges. I'm going to go over here by her toe. And then I'm going to hit up front and just underneath. I'm going to make a little bit of a circle down here. Dab, dab, dab. Dab, dab, dab. I'll put some more right along the edge and the back. I like getting some of the static grass right toward the edge, because then you can make sure that that is standing up and it looks good. Okay. Put this brush down. Grab a tiny pinch of this crazy stuff. I'm just gonna sprinkle it in. I don't want to go too much on there because I don't want it to clump up. I'm rolling my fingers to try and separate it a little bit. I'll let it rain down on it. Again, tap it off. Use your thumb, brush up toward the miniature as you go around. Because then if the static grass is on the side, it should point in the proper direction before you blow on it. Give it a couple of taps to shake off the loose stuff. Then we'll take a little bit of this Void Shield blue. Shake it up a bunch. Put a little dab at the edge so I can get that final coat on the base rim. All right. I'm not going to water this down. I'm just going to put it on. We're just going to go right at it. We may end up going around twice because this is a fairly pale color. And I would like it to be a fairly pale but solid color. When you're doing this, you can bring the edge of your brush off the bottom if you're worried about it and hit the bottom a couple of times. That way you know that you're starting low and you don't overlap too much onto the terrain of the base. Again, we're just trying to make sure that this is a good coat of this blue, because this blue is a very pale blue. Looks good. And that looks good. There we go. A little bit of static grass on my brush. A little bit more static grass on my brush. There we go. All right. There we go. More blue on my finger. Yeah. Winter Keylith looking pretty good. I like her. I like her. The amethyst is nice and shiny in her staff. Her cloak looks excellent. The staff looks real good, and that was a super simple paint. If we remember last time, we just did that in bone white and then hit it with a wash and left it. And it worked out pretty well. But yeah. Winter Keylith done. I will set her up next to all of her friends. Well, I mean, he died. You know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. There we go. Spoilers. All right. So, next week, working on Percy. Percy. Where are you, Percy? Come here. All right, we'll take a peek at him. I'll make sure I can get as much of the trim and flashing off as possible. He's got his rapier. He's got bad news. Oh, God, that's wobbly. Straighten out. Can I straighten you out? Will you straighten out? Okay. Because repeating pistol. His other pistol. His fancy coat. Ew, he's got a lot of little filigree and stuff in there. That could be interesting. Gunpowder pouches, all sorts of fun business. His coat's got a lot of fabric down there. I don't think he really has that much fabric. Like, if he had that much fabric, that would be a lot. But, you know, dramatic effect. Okay. He's next. And that'll be the end of the original crew. And then we'll have to do Tyrion Darrington and Doty afterward. But yeah, there we go. Keylith done. Added to the roster. So, we will see you guys next Thursday, 2 days from now, we will take a look at Percy. We'll finish. We'll get Percy started. I think we're going to do him as a highwayman, as I had mentioned. Delirium, this is your set of minis. If you've got any input on what you'd like to see, if you've got something that's been itching in the back of your head, you're curious about how you'd like to have a gunman painted up, let me know. And we will add him and add his color palette. Still liking this amethyst. It's very pretty. Super shiny. So, yep. Yeah, I know. But maybe. I don't know if you had an idea. If you just wrote a book and there was a character in it that I thought might look cool. Yeah, thanks. And we'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a fantastic evening. Be safe. And I will talk to you then. Bye-bye.